Acton in Focus is brought to you by Gallant Insurance Agency.
Welcome to Acton in Focus. I'm Vivian Kopsinger-Birchall, your host, and my special guests are a team from Women's Money Matters. They are going to introduce themselves, and we'll kick it off from there, starting with Anne. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Vivian. My name is Anne Muita. I have been a resident of Acton for the last 20 years, and I'm excited to be here to talk about Women's Money Matters.
And I'm Danielle Piskadlo. I have lived in Acton for the past 4 years, and I am the executive director at Women's Money Matters. So thank you so much for having us here today.
Absolutely. No, it's thank you again for coming to Acton TV. And before we dig into Women Money Matters, could you tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you like about this town, and ultimately how you got engaged or involved with Women Money Matters, starting with Anne?
Yeah, like I said, I have lived in Acton for the last 20 years. What attracted me to town was the school system. I have 2 children who are now teenagers. One is a sophomore in college, having gone through the Acton school system. The other one is a junior in high school. Also, I like the fact that it's out in the suburbs. I like the open space. The town has changed a lot over the last 20 years, but it's still very exciting to see all the new people moving into town. I got into Budget Buddies over 5 years ago. I was introduced by a woman named Joan Kulash, who runs Community Inroads in Lawrence and Haverhill, and she helps to put individuals to work with different nonprofit organizations. And so she introduced me to it, and the mission resonated with me, and so I've been involved with them for the last 5 years.
And it has since changed the name.
Yeah.
To Women Money Matters. All right.
So like Anne, we also moved to Acton for the school system. We have 2 boys that are both at McCarthy Town, so they're 7 and 9, and you know, we are in West Acton in Indian Village, and have just felt such a warm hug of community since the very first day that we moved in, and feel so fortunate to be a part of this wonderful and diverse community that we're in. So yeah, I also started and got involved when it was Budget Buddies. We did rebrand recently to become Women's Money Matters. And I was actually a board fellow. I was introduced in 2016 through Net Impact's board fellowship, and have volunteered for a number of years after that in different governance roles. And then when the 2 founding mothers decided to retire, I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to throw my hat in the ring to become the next executive director. So haven't looked back since.
Oh, well, what is this organization? What does it do? And, well, you know, as you're explaining what it does,
Yep.
The other question is, why did you change the name from Budget Buddies to Women Money Matters? I'm just curious.
Yeah, sure, I can take that. So we are a organization that is focused on financial wellness for women who are living on low incomes. And we use a unique model that combines a small peer cohort of women who are facing similar financial challenges and situations, and brings that group together, matches every woman that comes into our program then one-to-one with a personal coach, a volunteer coach, that stays with her throughout the program and is there just to focus on her financial goals. And then they go to a series of financial wellness workshops that we've designed over the many years that we've been around to really uniquely address the needs of women specifically and women living on low income. So those workshops take place weekly over a 3-month period and cover everything related to what you would need to understand about your credit, building credit, repairing credit, banking, eating healthy on a budget, wants versus needs. It's a pretty comprehensive program in that sense. So in terms of why we rebranded, a lot of it was really driven by the pandemic. We started to run more virtual programs through COVID to really meet women and where the need was greatest. And with that, we felt like it was very important for us to have, a little bit more of a descriptor of who we are in our name. We actually don't even call it a budget in our programs. It's a spending plan or a savings plan because budgets can be kind of anxiety producing. So,
yeah.
And
If I could take a step back too, also when the organization started, it was a small organization that was started more than 10 years ago. And so as organizations grow, you need to remain relevant and evolve with the times. So we felt from a board perspective that it's more inclusive and it's going to expand the net of the people who can be involved with the program. So Women's Money Matters has a bigger reach and a name that would resonate more with people.
yeah.
right, so you have mentioned that it serves women with low incomes or women who really sometimes have no incomes at all. What have been the trends? What kind of demographic have you seen through the years that is needing this service?
Yeah, so we serve, it's mainly women of color, almost 70%. It's mainly moms, also around 70%. And so those are two things that have stayed pretty consistent. We do offer programming in both English and Spanish, and the Spanish program is a more recent development, like having translated and have the volunteers to really run that program. So we are seeing an uptick in the number of women that go through our program in Spanish. So that's one of the big changes. But we work with a lot of women who are living in transitional housing. So that has increased throughout the pandemic. There's certainly been a greater need. And we also work with women who are mainly on some form of public assistance. And so we've just seen that need rise as well.
Yeah. Additionally, I think women have not been immune to the impact of the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, we were seeing a lot of women who were coming into us through agencies.
Yeah.
But since the pandemic, we've actually expanded our programs to have women who directly reach out to us to join the program. So that's been a trend. Unfortunately, the need has just increased.
Yeah.
And it's also a well-known fact that women make 82 cents per dollar compared to men in the workplace. And so there's just a gap there. And also we've seen what is the cliff effect. A lot of women, as you become mothers, they drop out of the workplace, and I think the pandemic, exacerbated that. And so the demand for our services, unfortunately, has just grown.
Yep.
Right. We can, as a woman, I can relate to many of the issues that you've pointed out. And the other layer that I want to introduce right now is the immigrant mother or woman.
Yeah.
How many of those do you serve? And I know that, Anne immigrated from Kenya. So she's probably familiar with the struggles of integrating in a new economy, new environment, and trying to navigate the financial systems. What has that been like for the women that you serve?
Yeah.
I can expound on that a little bit. Coming into this country as an immigrant, the financial system is daunting as it is. Coming from Kenya, we don't have credit scores. It was just recently introduced. But as an immigrant into this country, that's one of the things that you have to learn, how to navigate the financial system. Banking services, the importance of having a credit score. So we actually have some programs that are geared specifically to immigrant women, like Danielle alluded to earlier. What we do is we have a cohort of programs. So we can reach out to different immigrant groups and have a program that's geared specifically to them. And in those programs, we actually deal with issues that are unique to those immigrant women. And what makes it even more appealing is the one-on-one coaching, which is unique to Women Money Matters. Anybody can be a coach. You don't have to be financially literate, because most people think, oh, I don't know anything about finances, so I can't be a coach. Women Money Matters actually designs the programs and walks along with you. So even for women who are immigrants, you can be a coach. And through Women Money Matters, you learn about credit score and planning your money, budgeting, and what's the implication for you. So it's been very helpful, and I think that's a set of unique circumstances for immigrants.
Yeah.
Right, and for Danielle, you were born here, obviously, and so you were familiar with the credit score system. What gaps have you seen, in addition to what Anne has said, that the people needing your service, especially the immigrants, are, need help with?
Yeah. So Anne and I actually both volunteered and coached in the same cohort with the South Sudanese Enrichment for Families, and it is enlightening. I mean, it's really, you see how daunting it is to come, to a new financial environment that is so focused on that credit score, right? And it impacts everything, right? It impacts your ability to rent, to buy a car, to buy a home, and to have to kind of navigate that and figure it out, and figure out how you can build it in a way that is constructive and doesn't inadvertently do damage to your financial situation or to your credit score is really challenging. And on top of that, what we hear a lot in our programs is that newcomers are targeted, right? Because there's sort of this understanding that like the college students or the 18-year-olds that have just become adults in our country, there is this lack of understanding about how it works, and so it's navigating that kind of being targeted as well as an immigrant that we have to really raise awareness and really work against.
I'm just curious, are there people who have gone through your program and then maybe felt they were on their feet, graduated, for lack of a better word, and then found themselves back for some reason?
Yeah, we've had a couple women who have chosen to go through the program a number of times, and we welcome that. Really, we understand that there's a lot of information and that you have to sort of be at the right time and place to be open and receptive to that as well. And so maybe they go through and they have one financial goal that they're focused on in that session, and then they are welcome to come back and focus on another financial goal. We've also just implemented what we're calling level up workshops, which means that women who have gone through our program can come back and learn about specific topics related to, maybe they're now at a place where they're looking at home buying, or they're looking at, they want to learn more just about taxes. So that isn't something that we necessarily cover broadly in our workshops, but we now have an opportunity to continue your journey, your financial wellness journey with us through those.
And then how do you navigate language barriers, if any, because you're dealing with immigrant populations as well?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yes.
Because like Danielle said, we have introduced a Spanish speaking program, which is geared towards Spanish speaking people.
Yep.
And what we do is look for volunteers who actually speak Spanish, but that is one subset. As an example, in the South Sudanese program, we had a challenge of language barrier, but also you find that some of the immigrants in the program are going through ESL as a second language, and so how to learn that. And so within Women's Money Matters, if we cannot provide the service, we also act as a referral source.
Okay.
And in instances where we are able, we'll direct people to look for those resources to help them with the language, because all immigrants need to learn English to be able to survive in this country, let alone be financially, literate. So it's imperative that at least you're able to speak English.
Yeah.
And that's how we get around that.
We also ask our coaches and our participants about their language skills, and even if they are in an English program, if there is a second language, we will work to match them with a coach that is also proficient in that second language and can help them navigate the course, hopefully when they do their one-to-one meetings in their native tongue. But it is a challenge for sure, and one that we hope to expand on over time and offer in more languages.
Right. I don't know whether people out there understand the challenges or the influence language has on one's welfare in this country, because it influences employment, where your food, if you can't order a meal, if education, your children's support, if they're in schools and they come home with homework that you can't understand. So it's something that I really, really care about, language literacy, and I'm hoping that as a community, we can invest more in software that can translate languages so that we can move together as one community. But anyway, back to you as residents of Acton and people who work with women who are struggling with finances. What would you like our community to help with in terms of supporting these categories of women? And if there are women out there who need help, how can they reach you all?
Yeah, great questions. The first one, I'll take the one about how a woman that is in need of help can reach us. So women who are in need of our services can go on our website, and there is a link to join a program and a very short interest form. And that's all it takes. And then we will contact you and talk about when the next program is starting. There are always new programs starting, so you can sign up anytime and we'll just find the one that works best with your schedule. So that would be one way we would ask community members to help and to support us, is by really sending us those referrals of women that they think could use access to a coach and a cohort and the workshops that we're able to offer. The other one would be volunteering, which I'll let you take.
Like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to think of yourself as a financial guru to be a volunteer. All you need is a willingness to partner up with one of the participants in our programs. Women Money Matters prepares all the materials. And if you think about the population that we target, some of these women don't have anybody to talk to about finances. They've never had anyone take a personal interest in them. And so what we have found with the unique model of matching people one-to-one, people develop relationships beyond the financial literacy. And it's amazing that even the volunteers say they learn something in the program. So I think it's a two-way, both as a volunteer and both as a participant. There's something for everybody in it. In addition to volunteers, we are an organization that is privately funded by fundraising. So if people can't be volunteers and you can't coach with us, we are also looking for people to donate to the organization. We are 501c organization, so all donations are tax deductible. And I think within this community, would be looking for help with that as well. And to volunteer, we have a volunteer coordinator on the website as well. You can go and find a link on the website.
Yeah. Two questions before I forget. One, what is the matrix for low income for your program? And let's start there.
Yeah, it's 300% of the federal poverty guidelines.
Okay,
which is it's done by family size.
Okay.
So when you go to the application, that's the first thing will be like, what's your family size and and then the matrix will show you if you're eligible within that. But we're not really in the business of turning women away. That's just where our resources are spent, on women that are living within 300% of the federal poverty guidelines.
And the reason I asked is sometimes I have this challenge with this matrix because they let people fall through the cracks. And here's an example. If, say, a woman is in, a 2-person household, they have a spouse or a partner, but it's an abusive relationship, and they have no control of the money, that money, and yet they need financial help so that they can coexist. Because, honestly, we live in a she economy where our products are taxed more, and they are more expensive, and yet, so if you don't have, access to finances, then you struggle if you're in an abusive relationship. So that's one of the issues. But just to give you an example, so that's why I asked that question. And how do you make sure that, I guess you've kind of answered it, that you don't send anyone away, but... Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely like why I am passionate about the work that we do. Like, I want every woman to be able to leave any bad situation, whether it's a job, a relationship, a housing. And we work with a lot of domestic violence shelters, and we of course would love to reach women, to be able to help them get out of those bad relationships. And 99% of domestic violence situations, there's also financial abuse happening. And so in that case, we absolutely would welcome, a woman into our community, regardless of the federal poverty guidelines, and help to be a source of support. And we have a lot of partners that do focus on that specifically, like helping with the financial resources to make sure that women are able to get their feet under them and be financially independent.
And then the other kind of thorny area, or gray area, not thorny, is people who don't have status yet in this country but want to navigate this.
I was going to address that because you asked what percentage are immigrants, and so we don't know because we don't ask and we don't care. So that is not something that is a prerequisite, and we don't think it's a part of something that we need to be even aware of. We certainly wouldn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable filling out our application or joining a program because of their documentation status. So,
immigration status is a non-issue for us.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good to know. Safe haven. All right. So, and then one other thing. If a male, I wants to be a trainer or a coach.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's an interesting question that always comes up. Just to be clear, we open it up to men to be presenters.
Yes.
But we don't open it up to men to be coaches one-on-one with the participants. So men are welcome in our programs to present, but just because of the women that we target, we find that most people are comfortable talking to other women about their finances. And also, I just like to make it clear, we also have programs for girls, because if you think about it, for teenage girls, girls' life, because if we can be able to teach people about financial literacy when they're much younger, I think you have a better chance of managing your finances in the long run.
Yeah.
So just teenagers or?
No, so
and young adults.
The Life Launch program is for women 14 to 22, and we do get that question a lot, and it is a women helping women model, and that's part of the relationship building, and we're trying to create safe spaces for women to feel comfortable talking about their finances, and that doesn't exist in a lot of other circles. So that's our model.
No, this is amazing. I'm just so excited to see 2 Acton residents helping our communities, not just in Acton, but how many terms do you serve with
we are
Women Money Matters?
Across the state of Massachusetts now. Yeah.
That is amazing. So we, as an Acton resident, I'm proud of the work that you're doing. I'm proud of you. And did you want to say something?
I was going to say 99% of our participants are actually from Massachusetts.
Awesome. Oh, that is amazing. Is there anything that I have left out in terms of getting to know what you do, or what drives you to do what you do, that you'd like our viewers to?
That's a good question.
I would like to say I'm passionate about financial literacy and helping women, and that's why I got involved in Women Money Matters. And being an immigrant, we have a saying in my country that if you help women, you help a community, because it is said that a woman who's happy and confident in herself helps to create a healthy community by raising a healthy family as well. So I would like to encourage any Acton residents out there, if anybody needs help with financial literacy, please reach out to us. Like Danielle mentioned, through our website, we don't turn anybody away. And so would be more than happy to work with them.
And if I wanted to, and this is just a dream, to have a session of just talking to women in our community about financial literacy, maybe once a month here at Acton TV, is that something that we can do?
Oh, that would be wonderful. I would welcome the opportunity. Yeah, I think there's a lot of lessons that we have through our workshops, but also that we learn from our participants about, topics that are current and relevant. Right now there's a lot of focus on inflation and how that is really affecting families, and that would be a great space for us to create.
Right. I'm passionate about this because, first of all, I was raised by a single mother with very low, sometimes no income. So I kind of am familiar with the struggles of a woman trying to make it work. And what people don't realize sometimes is that a child watching their mother struggle is the most painful thing.
Yeah.
And it haunts a child, and I think it's because of that I'm passionate very specifically about empowering women. And if there's anything that I can do to just provide a space for more awareness about financial literacy and just ways of navigating a financial system, I'd love to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Thank you for offering that. And I would just want to piggyback on something that you have said. It's interesting we position our program as financial literacy, but it's amazing how women's self-confidence changes from the beginning of the program to the end of the program, because like Danielle alluded to, we tackle more than just financials. We tackle budgeting, eating on a budget. So you tie it into a lot of different aspects of being a self-confident woman. And what we have seen at the beginning of most programs, we do a survey and ask the participants what they want to accomplish, by the end of the program. And for some of them, it's not necessarily a financial goal or something big, but they come in with low self-confidence, and by the end of the program, most of them, their self-confidence is one of the things that they say has been impacted.
Yeah, it's about being in the driver's seat of your own finances, and that is an empowering feeling, to feel like you are in control. And we're working to change the relationship that women have with money, right? Especially when it's scarce. It's often just such an intense source of stress. Finance is the #1 stressor for Americans, and we want to change that relationship. We want it to be something where you feel like this is a tool that you can use and understand and have work for you in some way. So.
Absolutely. No, again, I'm excited about the work you do. I'm excited to have you guys in our Acton community.
Yeah.
And to our viewers, I hope you will reach out to Women Money Matters as a volunteer, ask questions, and we'll certainly be bringing them back to Acton TV to tell us more about their programming and if there are any updates. And so stay tuned. But for now, thank you for watching, and thank you, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure.
Again, thank you for watching. Till next time.